Finding this out took me some time. Finding this out, yeah, it definitely took some time. You bought a book, you have a book, somebody gave you a book, there's a book somewhere, and you don't want that book to get messed up. I'm gonna show you a tutorial on how we fix that, but we're gonna talk about something else first. Here's an intro. You can skip it. I'll put it in I'll put the timestamp down at the bottom. Why would you want to protect a book? I think it's kind of obvious, but I'm going to give you an example. Look at this book. What's wrong with it? It's all torn up, right? Everything will happen to your book. I mean, eventually, something like a folding will happen. A kid will get to it, and it's not even folds. It's literally torn up. You spill coffee, a bunch of writing, sun damage. You don't want that. Look at that spine. See, it's all falling out. If I put this on a shelf, can you read that? Would you be able to read that? You sure? Because it's not there. It's literally non-existent. Just something happens, it gets dented, it gets bent, whatever. And you think like, oh, who cares, because books are here, books are forever. As it turns out, not so much. So you obviously don't want something like this to happen. I don't put covers on my books because I think they're going to be collectible or anything like that. I just want to make sure my books last long. I don't want them to get messed up. Just because you're covering a book does not mean it's necessarily valuable. I just buy what I like, and I want to make sure they last long and stay protected. There's paperback, there's hardcover, and then there's hardcover that come with book jackets. We're going to cover all of them. So how do you do it? Materials. You're going to need the materials, right? So let's look at what you need. You're going to need some tape. You're going to need scissors. You're going to use a ruler. Don't hurt yourself. You're going to need this. The company that sells the polyester plastic that you're going to be using to cover up the books, it's called Broad Art. That's the name of the company. It's literally all about library and archival and how to protect your stuff. If you want to be a library tech or something like that, like, you're probably going to want to look into it. If you want to have a bookstore, even for me, if I owned a bookstore, I'd probably be looking into this place to like protect your stuff. Broad Art. The box itself has the website and the phone number. I like this company. I think there's one other one. Instead of having you guys go to the website and just like wander around looking for the product, I'm going to actually leave the SKUs down at the bottom so you can just look at the ones that I bought. There's two ways to buy the polyester plastic. Okay? You can buy the polyester plastic in a tube like this, or you can buy them individually in sheets. And it looks like this, okay? It comes with paper attached to the polyester. This is what the box looks like when you buy the sheets. Typically the sheets come in bulks of 10, 20, 50, as many as you like. There are different versions of this sheet. This particular sheet is my favorite. It opens one way. There are different versions of it. This tube is great for hardcover books. Be sure to measure your book, okay? You want to measure the height of your book, and the width is typically pretty forgivable. Don't worry if it's a little too short. If you look right here, the plastic flap made it just perfect over this. If it's too large, you can always cut it. I have never had a situation where the plastic was too short. If it was too short, it's only by yay big. Typically most sizes make the cut. You don't have to use polyester to make a cover for your books. I mean, the next thing to free would be to use paper. This is a custom made cover that I made for one of the books. Before I found out about polyester, I used to protect my books using just paper. I like using paper because I get to decorate the book. Here's a Black Hole by Charles Burns. I don't really care for these stickers, so I just slapped them on. So that's kind of cool. This is a really old school way of protecting your books. Obviously I switched out of that method because paper rips. See right here, there's tears. I don't like seeing tape too close to the book. I don't like seeing adhesive close to the book. Adhesive tends to melt in the heat, and it tends to get on your books. So I try to stay away from adhesive as much as I can. I think it'll just help collect dust more. I hate that smell. I really don't like my books smelling old. And after a while, I would like to see the cover of my books. Clearly, it's not the best, but you know, it might prevent some things from happening from your book, but it definitely won't protect it from things like coffee. I really worked on trying to figure out how to walk away from paper. I'm going to take this paper apart just to show you what I used to do. I used to just wrap the paper all the way around it, and I used to cut these sheets and tape the edges off. Now, this is the real cover of the book. I'm going to remove this cover here. I'm going to remove the actual jacket from the book very calmly, closely. And that's the original cover. Another thing, I don't know this thing, this little sleeve of this cover, what this is called. You know, if you can let me know what this is called, I think this is cool. I don't really want a book from overseas if it doesn't really have this. It's definitely gonna get covered up too. I'm gonna flip this over. This baby slides out and cool. So I removed my old paper cover because I don't want this anymore. So this is the book I'm going to be covering up today. Blood of Neera's Creatures. Neera, he was a great artist. I think he passed away about 2 years ago. He's worked on Devilman, you know, Mazinger Z. We need more stuff like this. We really do. So I'm going to remove this cover. Okay. This is the same, like it won't matter if the book itself is hardcover. This is a paperback book, but it's got a jacket. And this is what we're going to be protecting today. Okay. So here's a polyester with a paperback cover. I hope you measured your book before you ordered these. This particular sheet, with the skew that I put down in the bio, should be about, I'm going to say 12 inches height. Don't really know the length, but I'm not too concerned about the length. So long as we cover the majority of the front and it creases over towards the flaps, we should be fine. Here's the cover of the book, and honestly, it's so awesome and easy. All you gotta do is lift this up, put this baby back here, open the flaps, this is the part that sucks because I don't like to fold this part because it's already perfectly folded, but I have to lay it flat. So I have to measure this out. I don't like doing that. It's just a peeve of mine, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Just gonna push back the cover so that it meets the very end. So that it meets the tip of this part. Now, here's why it's important to measure out the length. On this side, it seems perfect. But this right here, you're going to get some, if you don't measure it correctly, you're going to get some slack over here. If you're okay with it, like the way I'm okay with it, it shouldn't be too big of a big deal. Make sure that both ends are pretty even. Again, lay this out flat. What's that saying they used to tell you when you were little? Sana sana colita de rana. Sana sana colita de rana. Sana sana colita de rana. I gotta work on my Spanish. Keep doing this until it's nice and flat. Don't forget that little slit that they add. Not sure what it's about. I think it's a little advertisement thing, but it looks like it's advertising. Again, if you guys know what this piece is called, let me know. I think it's important. I think it's important to know. They obviously do it for a reason. I'm going to flip this over so you guys can see what it looks like on the other side. See that? It's going to be nice and glossy. On the very bottom, there's going to be some creases here. They literally etch them out so that like you can cut them off. And you can just literally peel away at it, like so. You can use a pair of scissors, it doesn't matter. You know, whatever gets the job done. Okay, so I want you to know something. The slits down here, they can almost all go away. If you can get it perfectly, that's fine. But let's say you cut one extra, you know? See these pieces? Now I'm exposing a little bit of the back. That's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's say I'm making a mistake here. Like, oh no, I cut more than what I needed. It's really not a big deal. So, you're happy where your book cover's at. You trimmed the paper at the end. Now you need to seal the deal, right? You gotta fold this plastic back. This plastic needs to disappear. Well, all you gotta do is fold it back like so. Push it in. Okay. Now, I've heard this thing called a bone creaser or something like that, or I'm not sure what it's called, but I just use a ruler and I just fold it, use this to fold it. It works just as good, honestly. And make it nice and sharp, like a sharp crease. So that even if this gets messed up, like if this flips back, you know where the crease is at. I like to make it nice and tight, so I go all along the way like this. So that crease is done. And so our crease is perfect, right? We like the way it's at. So what you're going to do now is you're going to grab some adhesive tape. I like using the clear tape, so it looks invisible. I'm just going to tape it like so. Okay. I don't like to use a lot of tape because I don't like keeping adhesive things close to the books. See how I leave this crease here? Leave this open. I like to leave it there just because I don't like adhesive getting too close to the book. I've only used 3 pieces of tape. Okay, I'm going to probably do another one here because it's lifting. I don't want it to lift. Cool. All right, and as we can see here, this is the polyester. This much room I'm okay with leaving. If it bothers you, I would really suggest you measure out your books carefully. So this is essentially done. I'm going to flip it over so you guys can see it. See that? It's nice and glossy. Give it here. I hate this part. I don't like folding the corners again. But we have to do what we must. Bam. Okay. That looks a lot cleaner. Maybe you can't tell because of the camera, but man, it's super nice. I really like putting polyester on top of the covers. And we're going to fold these again. What's nice about polyester too is that it stretches. So just carefully crease the corners. Very nice. Just like that. I tell you, making paper covers for my books took a lot longer than doing this. It saves so much more time. And it looks a lot nicer too. So yeah, that's how you add a polyester cover to your book. And now your book's covered and protected. So this is an example of a paperback book with a book jacket. This book, it's Cannabis Works by, let's see if I can pronounce it correctly, Tanaka Tatsuyuki. This guy's really good. Another freaking A-lister in the game. He's got an animated short I'm sure you can find on YouTube, but man, this book is a hardcover. You can take off the jacket here, and you can see that it's also it's a different size and shape, but I was still able to use the same jacket size to get it done. You just have to make a fold a little harder, or I should say larger fold going up. So yeah, that's an example of a hardcover book with a jacket.